Riley didn't even finish stepping into the room before the first gun cocked. Two identical Korean men, same face, same cold smile, blocked the only exit. Jun-So spun a knife between his fingers like he'd been waiting for this moment. Jun-Woo aimed the gun at her chest, calm as breathing. "Congratulations," one of them said. "You passed the interview." The door slammed behind her, locked. Riley froze, her intern badge still hanging crooked on her blazer. This is for a marketing internship?" she whispered. Both twins leaned in at the same time, eyes dark and hungry. "No," Jun-Woo murmured. "This is for us." Before we go further, ensure you tell us where you are watching us from, and if you love intense Mafia stories like this, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss the twists coming next. 30 minutes earlier, Riley had been touching her acceptance letter for the third time that morning. Chen Global Enterprises, the biggest marketing firm in Seoul. Her sociology professor had written the recommendation himself. The internship paid enough to cover her student visa extension, her cramped studio in Itaewon, and maybe, her grandmother's hospital bills back in Atlanta. She'd worked 3 years for this, learned Korean through late-night Duolingo sessions between double shifts at the campus coffee shop, graduated summa cum laude, applied to 73 positions before Chen Global responded. The email had been perfect, professional. The offer letter had her full name spelled correctly, Riley Amara James. She should have noticed the office building had no other employees. Should have questioned why the HR department was on the 13th floor of what looked like a luxury penthouse. Should have run when the elevator doors opened to marble floors and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Gangnam, and a single door with no company logo. But Riley James had never run from anything in her life. Now, staring at two identical men with guns and knives, she felt her knees lock. "I don't understand," she said, hating how her voice shook. "I applied for—" "We know what you applied for." Jun-Woo, the one with the gun, lowered his weapon slightly. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. "We wrote the job posting specifically for you." Riley's stomach dropped. "What?" Jun-So, the one with the knife, tilted his head. "You're very good at research, Riley. We appreciated your thesis on organizational behavior in high-stakes environments." He smiled, and it didn't reach his eyes. "Very applicable to our family business." "I wrote that about Fortune 500 companies," Riley whispered. "And we're a fortune unto ourselves." Jun-Woo stepped closer. She could smell his cologne, sandalwood and something darker. "Your background check was fascinating. Scholarship student? No family in Korea? Student visa expires in 47 days? Grandmother with stage 4 breast cancer who needs treatment your insurance won't cover." Riley's blood turned to ice. "How do you—" "We know everything." Jun-So moved to her other side, boxing her in. "We know you work at Cafe Mono on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We know you take the 7:15 bus to campus. We know you FaceTime your grandmother every Sunday at 9 p.m. Atlanta time." Tears burned behind her eyes, but she blinked them back. "What do you want?" Both twins smiled at the exact same time. "Simple," Jun-Woo said. "Your grandmother gets the treatment she needs. Your student loans disappear. You get a green card and a real job when this is over." "When what's over?" Jun-So's knife disappeared into his jacket. 6 months. You'll live here. Work for us. Present yourself as our shared interest." "I'm not a prostitute," Riley spat, finding her voice. "No," Jun-Woo said softly, something almost like respect in his eyes. "You're leverage." They explained it in the living room that looked like it belonged in Architectural Digest. Riley sat on a leather sofa that probably cost more than her tuition, hands shaking as Jun-So poured her water from a crystal decanter. "Our father controls half the shipping routes in East Asia," Jun-Woo said, sitting across from her. He'd put the gun away, but Riley could still see the holster under his jacket. "He's dying. Cancer. Ironically, when he dies, Everything goes to us. Our uncle disagrees with this arrangement, Junso continued, handing her the water. Their fingers brushed, and Riley jerked back. He smiled. Uncle believes the business should go to his son, our cousin, Min Jun. He's been positioning himself. What does this have to do with me? Riley asked. Father believes in appearances, legacy. He wants us settled before he dies. Married. But we're not exactly the marrying type. Why not? The question left Riley's mouth before she could stop it. Both twins went very still. Because we share everything, Junso said quietly, and society hasn't caught up to that particular arrangement. Riley's throat grew dry. So, you want me to pretend, Junwoo cut in, for 6 months. Come to family dinners, smile for photos, let father believe we're reforming. When he dies, you get everything we promised. You disappear, we inherit. Everyone wins. Except I'm lying to a dying man. You're helping him die at peace, Junso corrected. Father was never kind to us, but he wants to believe we'll continue his empire. This gives him that. Riley looked between them. They were beautiful in a dangerous way. Sharp jawlines, dark eyes that missed nothing, movements too synchronized to be natural. Everything about them screamed predator. And if I say no? She whispered. Junwoo's expression didn't change. Your grandmother's treatment gets denied by her insurance company. Your student visa gets flagged by immigration for some very creative violations. Your scholarship mysteriously gets revoked due to plagiarism allegations we can easily fabricate. That's extortion. That's business. Junsao sat beside her on the couch, close enough that she could feel his body heat. But if you say yes, your grandmother survives. You graduate with honors. You get a reference letter that will open any door in any country. And 6 months from now, you walk away clean. Riley's hands tightened around the water glass. She thought of her grandmother's voice on their last call, weak but trying to sound strong. Baby, don't you worry about me. You focus on your dreams. Dreams didn't pay for chemotherapy. Do I have to? She couldn't finish the sentence. Sleep with us? Junju finished, his voice clinical. No, we said pretend. We meant pretend. Though if you wanted to, Junsao started. Young, Junwoo cut him off sharply. Junsao shrugged, unrepentant. Just offering options. Riley's heart hammered against her ribs. Every instinct screamed to run. But where would she go? Back to her studio with its broken heating and roaches? Back to 73 job rejections? Back to watching her grandmother die because Riley couldn't afford to save her? She thought about all the times she'd swallowed her pride, her fear, her anger to survive, working doubles while nursing bruised feet, smiling through microaggressions from professors who couldn't believe a black girl from Georgia could speak Korean fluently, choosing between textbooks and groceries. This was just another survival calculation. I want it in writing, she heard herself say. Contract. With every promise you just made. Both twins smiled, and this time it almost looked genuine. Smart girl, Junwoo murmured. You'll fit right in. They gave her the master bedroom. Riley stood in the doorway, staring at a space bigger than her entire studio apartment. King-sized bed with silk sheets, wall of windows overlooking the glittering Seoul skyline, bathroom with a soaking tub and separate shower, walk-in closet already filled with clothes, all in her size. All designer labels she'd only seen in magazines. How long have you been planning this? She asked, running her hand over a cashmere sweater that probably cost a month's rent. 8 months, Junsao said from behind her. She jumped. He moved too quietly for someone so dangerous. Until you published that thesis. We knew you were perfect. Perfect for lying to your dying father? Perfect for surviving us? He stepped into the closet, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Most people crack under pressure. You calculate, analyze, adapt, like you're doing right now. Riley's jaw tightened. You don't know me. We know enough. His hand came up, and she flinched. He paused, then slowly, deliberately, reached past her to pull out a black dress. Dinner with father is tomorrow night. Wear this. Smile. Let us do the talking. What if he asks me questions? Tell him the truth. Junso hung the dress on the closet door. We met through work. We couldn't stay away from you. We're working on making this permanent. Father appreciates romance. He'll eat it up. And what about your uncle, the one who wants you dead? He wants control, not us dead. Though he's not particular about methods. Junso's expression darkened. Uncle will test you. Try to find cracks. You need to be convincing. Or what? Or people die, Riley. He said it so simply. This isn't a game. You're holding up the cornerstone of a very fragile ceasefire. If Uncle thinks we're weak, he'll move. And when men like Uncle move, bodies pile up. Riley's hands trembled. I didn't sign up for a war. Yes, you did. You just didn't realize it. Junso moved toward the door, then paused. That contract you demanded? Junju's drafting it now. By morning, you'll have every promise in writing signed by our family's lawyers. But Riley, he looked back at her, and for the first time she saw something genuine in his eyes. Paper won't protect you if this falls apart. Only we can do that. So here's my advice. Stop looking for an exit and start learning how to survive. The door clicked shut behind him. Riley sank onto the bed, silk sheets cool against her shaking hands. Through the window, Seoul glittered like a circuit board, millions of lights representing millions of lives. Normal lives, safe lives. She pulled out her phone. One message from her grandmother. How'd the interview go, baby? Riley's thumbs hovered over the keyboard. She could tell the truth. Could confess she'd just been blackmailed into a fake relationship with two Mafia twins who collected information like other people collected stamps. Instead, she typed, I got the job. Starts tomorrow. Love you, Grandma. 3 dots appeared. Then, so proud of you. Knew you could do it. Riley locked her phone and pressed it against her forehead. Survive, she thought. Just survive 6 months. Then you can fall apart. The contract arrived at dawn. Riley awoke to find a leather portfolio on her nightstand, her name embossed in gold. Inside, 47 pages of legal Korean and English, side by side. Every promise outlined in brutal detail. Lee Medical Center would receive payment for one Doris James, grandmother. Full treatment, including experimental trials, for duration of treatment. Estimated $450,000 US. Student loans for Riley Amara James to be paid in full upon completion of 6-month contract. Total, $87,000. Upon successful completion of terms, Riley Amara James would receive a green card sponsorship through Chen Global Enterprises and employment contract, $95,000 annual salary, valid for 3 years. Riley Amara James agrees to cohabitate with Lee Jun-soo and Lee Jun-woo for 6 months, presenting as romantic partner. Physical intimacy not required. Public appearances mandatory. Confidentiality absolute. At the bottom, 2 signatures. Jun-soo's sharp and precise, Jun-woo's slightly softer, and a space for hers. A knock on the door made her jump. Come in, she called, pulling the sheets up. Jun-woo entered carrying a tray. Coffee, eggs, toast, fresh fruit arranged like art. He wore gray sweatpants and a white t-shirt, hair still damp from the shower. Without the suit, he looked younger, almost approachable. You read it? He asked, setting the tray on the bed. Twice. And? Riley picked up the pen from the portfolio. If I sign this, I'm admitting I can be bought. Everyone can be bought, Jun-woo said quietly. The only question is price. Yours is love. Your grandmother's life. That's not shameful. That's human. Says the man who threatened to destroy my life if I said no. I did. He sat on the edge of the bed, careful to maintain distance. I'm not going to apologize for protecting my family, but I will promise you this. If you're in completely. We protect what's ours. And for 6 months, you're ours. Riley's hand shook as she signed her name. The second the ink dried, Jun-woo's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his expression went cold. What? Asked Riley. Uncle just moved up dinner. Tonight, not tomorrow. He knows we're making a play. Jun-woo stood, and the casual man disappeared, replaced by the predator from yesterday. We have 8 hours to make you convincing. Eat, then we train. Train? You're about to meet one of the most dangerous men in Asia. Junwoo said flatly, and he's going to try to break you. So yes, Riley, we train. They taught her how to lie in the living room. Jun-soo played his uncle while Junwoo coached from the sidelines. For 3 hours, they ran scenarios. Questions Uncle might ask, traps he might set, ways to seem vulnerable without giving anything away. How did you meet my nephews? Jun-soo asked in perfect English, his voice taking on a raspier quality. Through work, I was consulting on a marketing project. Consulting? A college student? Interesting. And you fell for both of them at once. I fell for Junwoo first, but they're inseparable. Loving one means accepting both. So progressive. Jun-soo's smile could cut glass. And your family approves? Your grandmother in Georgia? Riley's breath caught. They'd warned her he'd weaponize personal information. My grandmother wants me to be happy, she said carefully. She trusts my judgment. Trusts you to shack up with 2 criminals? Because that's what we are, sweetheart. Did they tell you how many people I've killed? How many competitors we've buried in unmarked graves? How father built his empire on blood and fear? Riley's heart hammered, but she forced herself to meet his eyes. They told me your family. That family is everything. I understand that. Jun-soo stared at her for a long, terrible moment. Then broke character, a slow smile spreading. Good. Excellent. You didn't flinch. I was terrified. Terror is fine. Showing it isn't. Junwoo handed her a glass of water. Uncle respects strength. If you crack, he'll wedge into that crack until you split. So you can be scared. But you sit up straight, make eye contact, and remember, you're with us. That makes you untouchable. Unless you decide I'm not useful anymore, then you better stay useful, Jun-soo said lightly. Riley wanted to throw the water in his face. Instead, she drank it, letting the cold settle her nerves. Again, she said, run it again. By the 5th hour, she could deflect Uncle's fictional questions without hesitation. By the 6th, she could do it while Jun-soo deliberately invaded her space, testing her composure. By the 7th, she was exhausted, wrung out, but she didn't break. That's enough, Junwoo finally said. Go get ready. Car leaves in an hour. Riley stumbled to her room on shaking legs. In the shower, she let herself break down for exactly 3 minutes. Counted them on her watch. 3 minutes to cry, to shake, to question every choice that led her here. Then she dried her eyes, did her makeup, and zipped herself into the black dress Jun-soo had chosen. She looked like someone else in the mirror. Sophisticated, expensive, owned. 6 months, she told herself. You can be anyone for 6 months. The Lee family estate made the penthouse look modest. Riley's hands were slick with sweat as they drove through gates that probably had more security than the Blue House. The grounds went on forever. Manicured gardens, koi ponds, traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern glass extensions. Breathe, Junwoo murmured beside her in the back seat. You've got this. I'm about to lie to a dying man. You're about to give a dying man peace. Perspective matters. The car stopped at the main house entrance. A butler opened Riley's door, and she stepped out into the cool evening air, legs unsteady in heels she wasn't used to wearing. Jun-soo's hand settled on the small of her back. Junwoo took her hand. Together, they walked her inside like she was precious, fragile, theirs. The dining room could have hosted 50 people. Instead, 5 chairs were arranged at one end of a table that stretched into shadow. At the head sat an old man, oxygen tubes in his nose, expensive suit hanging off a frame that had once been powerful. Beside him, a younger man with the same sharp features as the twins, but twisted with something cruel. Uncle. Father, Junwoo said formally, bowing. Uncle. May we introduce Riley James. Father's eyes, dark like his son's but filmed with age and pain, focused on her. Pretty. American? Yes, sir. From Atlanta, Georgia. Long way from home. He studied her with unnerving intensity. My sons tell me you've agreed to join our family, that you understand what that means. Riley swallowed. I understand it means loyalty, strength, that family is everything. Father's cracked lips curved into something that might have been a smile. Did they feed you that line, or do you mean it? This was the test. She could feel it in the air, sharp as a blade. She thought of her grandmother, of all the times Grandma had chosen her over comfort, safety, ease. How family, real family, meant showing up when it was hard. Sir, I was raised by a woman who worked 3 jobs to keep me fed, who chose to raise me when my mother couldn't, who taught me that family isn't just blood, it's who you'd bleed for. Your sons have offered me something I couldn't get anywhere else. In return, I offer them my loyalty. That's not a line. That's a promise. The room went silent. Father studied her for a long, terrible moment. Then he laughed, a wet, painful sound. She's got spine. I approve. He waved a hand dismissively. Sit, eat. Tell me how my sons seduced an American innocent. Dinner was 3 hours of carefully navigated conversation. Riley stuck to the script, laughed at the right moments, let the twins touch her with casual possessiveness. Father told stories about his youth, his empire, his pride in his sons. Uncle watched like a snake in the grass, interjecting pointed questions. Isn't it unusual for a college student to be involved with 2 men at once? Uncle asked during dessert. Rather progressive. Love doesn't always fit into conventional boxes, Riley responded, channeling every romance novel she'd ever secretly read. I'd tried fighting it. But how do you choose between 2 people who complete each other? I'd be choosing half a person. How poetic. Uncle's smile didn't reach his eyes. And your visa situation. Convenient timing, isn't it? Your student visa expires soon, I hear. Riley's blood froze. How did he? My visa status has nothing to do with my relationship, she said firmly. But yes, Junwoo is helping me navigate the green card process. That's what partners do. They support each other. Uncle opened his mouth to respond, but Father cut him off with a raised hand. Enough, Minho. The girl has answered your interrogation with grace. Father's oxygen tank hissed as he breathed. I like her. She stays. Thank you, Father, Junseo said, his hand finding Riley's under the table and squeezing. The ride home was silent until they were back in the penthouse, door locked behind them. Then, Junwoo pulled Riley into a fierce hug. She froze, stunned. You were perfect, he said into her hair. Absolutely perfect. Uncle is going to investigate you, Junseo said, pouring 3 glasses of whiskey. But you planted enough truth in your lies that he'll find exactly what we want him to find. A smart girl who loves her grandmother and fell in with dangerous men. Riley accepted the whiskey with shaking hands. He knows about my visa? How? Uncle has eyes everywhere. Junwoo released her, his expression grim. That's why we have to be careful. He'll look for cracks, ways to pry you away from us or use you against us. Then we don't give him any cracks, Riley said, surprising herself with the steel in her voice. Both twins looked at her with something like respect. Welcome to the family, Junseo said, raising his glass. For real this time. They drank, and Riley felt the burn all the way down. This is real now, she thought. No more pretending to pretend. This is survival. The first month was a blur of performances. Riley learned to move through their world like she belonged. Charity galas where she smiled beside the twins, while men who'd killed people made small talk about golf. Family dinners where she served tea to Father and endured Uncle's barbed questions. Business meetings where she sat silent and decorative while discussions of shipping routes and territories happened in rapid Korean. She also learned their routines. Junwoo woke up at 5 a.m. every morning for martial arts training in the building's private gym. Junseo stayed up until 3 a.m. most nights, reading or taking calls in rapid Korean and Mandarin. They moved through each other's space like dancers, always knowing where the other was. And slowly, Riley stopped being a stranger in the choreography. She learned Junwoo took his coffee black, 3 sugars, and got migraines when he was stressed. She'd find him in the dark living room pressing fingers against his temples, and she started leaving ibuprofen and water on the coffee table without asking. She learned Junseo couldn't eat spicy food despite growing up in Korea, got his knife collection from his late mother, and sometimes had nightmares that left him pacing the penthouse at 2 a.m. She started making chamomile tea those nights, setting a cup on the kitchen counter where he'd find it. Small gestures, survival tactics, definitely not care. "You don't have to do this," Junwoo said one morning, finding her at 5:30 a.m. with coffee already brewed. Riley shrugged, pouring 2 cups. "You're helping my grandmother. Least I can do is help with your migraines." "That's not the same thing, isn't it?" She handed him a mug. "You're managing a dying man's last wishes while fighting your uncle for control of an empire. I'm managing a fake relationship while my grandmother survives cancer treatment. We're all just trying to keep people alive." Junwoo stared at her for a long moment. Then, so quietly she almost missed it, "Thank you." It was the first genuine thing he'd said to her in weeks. 6 weeks in, everything shattered. Riley was at the university library, maintaining the facade of still being a student, when her phone exploded with messages. "Junseo, don't come home. Go to Cafe Mono. Now!" "Junwoo, Uncle made a move. You're not safe at the penthouse." Unknown number. "Tick-tock, little bird. Let's see how much you're really worth to them." Riley's hands shook so hard she nearly dropped her phone. She shoved her laptop into her bag and ran, bursting onto the street and flagging a taxi. "Cafe Mono, H-Wen, fast!" The cafe was blessedly familiar. Her old workplace, her old life. The manager's eyes widened when Riley burst in looking like she'd seen a ghost. "Back room," he said quickly. "Go." Riley pushed through the employee door into the storage room. Junseo was already there, knife in hand, eyes scanning the alley exit. Junwoo arrived seconds later, gun drawn. "What happened?" Riley gasped. "Uncle planted evidence at the penthouse. Drugs, illegal weapons. Called in an anonymous tip to the police. If we'd been there, we'd be arrested. Father would have had to disown us?" Junseo continued. "Leave everything to Uncle's son. Brilliant move. But you knew. We have someone on the inside. Uncle's driver," Junwoo said tersely. "Warned us 10 minutes before the raid. So what now?" "Now we show Father proof that Uncle is moving against us," Junseo said. "But we need leverage, something Uncle can't deny." Riley's mind raced through everything she'd learned about organizational behavior, power structures, corporate warfare. His son, Minjun, what's his weakness? Both twins looked at her sharply. "What makes you think he has one?" Junwoo asked. "Everyone has one. Your father's weakness is wanting legacy. Yours is each other. Uncle's is wanting power." Riley's voice steadied as she worked through the logic. "So what does Minjun want badly enough to betray his father?" Junseo's eyes lit with something dangerous. "Freedom. Minjun hates the business, wants to be an artist. Uncle forces him to participate. Then we offer him an out," Riley said. "Information about Uncle's raid on the penthouse in exchange for help getting Minjun away from all this. Everybody wins. Minjun would never betray his father," Junwoo started. "He would if it meant saving his father from a war," Riley interrupted. "If this escalates, people die, including possibly Uncle. But if we prove Uncle made the move, Father has to act. He'll sideline Uncle, not kill him. Family is everything, remember?" Both twins stared at her. "How do you do that?" Junseo asked softly. "See the angles so fast." "Same way you do," Riley said. "Survival makes you smart." They found Minjun at an underground art gallery in Hongdae. He looked nothing like his father. Soft where Uncle was hard, kind eyes where Uncle's were cruel. He saw Riley first, then tensed when the twins appeared behind her. "Don't run," Junwoo said quietly. "We're not here to hurt you. What do you want?" Minjun's voice shook. "To give you a choice," Riley said, stepping forward. "Your father is about to start a war that will get people killed, including you. We can stop it, but we need proof that he initiated the raid on the penthouse. Help us, and we'll help you disappear. Full scholarship to art school in Paris. New identity. Freedom. You're lying. We're desperate, Juncio corrected. There's a difference. Minjin looked between them, then at Riley. Why do you care? You're just a what? A prop? A convenient American they're using? You're right, but I'm also someone who understands what it's like to be trapped by family expectations. Your father wants you to be a killer. My family wants me to be successful. Your cousins need you to be a traitor. We're all just trying to survive the roles we've been assigned. Something shifted in Minjin's expression. I have recordings. Father brags about his moves. I've been documenting everything for, I don't know, insurance maybe. Give us the raid recording, Junwoo said. And tomorrow you're on a plane to Paris with a full scholarship to École des Beaux-Arts. We have connections. Why would you help me? Because this doesn't end until someone breaks the cycle, Riley said. Might as well be us. Minjin pulled out his phone with shaking hands. This will destroy my father. This will save him, Juncio said, from himself. They'd come to the estate at dawn, just Riley and the twins. Uncle wasn't there, probably waiting for news of their arrest. Instead, Father listened to his brother's voice bragging about planting evidence, destroying his nephews, seizing control. When it ended, Father's oxygen tank hissed in the quiet. Minho was always ambitious. I thought age would temper him. It made him desperate, Junwoo said. He knows he's running out of time. Father looked at Riley. You helped gather this. Why? Riley met his eyes steadily. Because I promised your sons my loyalty. Because I understand what it means to fight for family. And because you deserve to die knowing your legacy is in good hands, not watching it burn. Father smiled sad and tired. You're nothing like I expected. I thought they'd found a pretty face to parade around. But you're a fighter. She's ours, Juncio said quietly. Completely. Something in his voice made Riley's chest tighten. Minho will be exiled to Busan. No access to the business. Minjin, he wanted art school? Paris, Riley confirmed. He's gifted. Then let him go. Father's hand trembled as he reached for his oxygen. The boy was never made for this life. Better he escapes. Thank you, Father, both twins said in unison. Don't thank me yet, Father's gaze sharpened. This doesn't change the requirement. I want marriage, legitimacy, before I'm gone. Riley's breath caught. That's not possible, Junwoo said carefully. Korean law doesn't allow. Then go to America, Nevada. I hear they're more flexible. Father smiled. I want a granddaughter-in-law legally bound to this family before I'm gone. You have 4 months. The twins looked at each other, then at Riley. Father, Juncio started. 4 months, Father repeated, or I leave everything to charity. Riley sat between the twins, mind reeling. Marriage. Legal binding. This had always been temporary, a 6-month performance, then freedom. Now Father wanted paperwork, permanence, proof. We'll figure it out, Junwoo finally said. Renegotiate the contract. More money, different terms. This isn't about money, Riley said quietly. Then what is it about? She didn't answer, couldn't answer, because somewhere in the past 6 weeks, this had stopped being pure survival. The coffee ritual with Junwoo, the tea ritual with Juncio, and the way they'd looked at her when she'd solved the Minjin problem. You're ours, completely. I'd started to believe it. Riley, Juncio said, and his voice was different, gentle. We won't force you. If you want out, we'll find another way. Your father will disown you. Father is dying. We'll inherit anyway, just later. Junwoo's hand found hers. His thumb was tracing circles on her palm. Absent, comforting. When had that become familiar? What if I don't want to walk away? She heard herself ask. Both twins went very still. What? Juncio breathed. Riley's heart hammered. I knew this was supposed to be pretend, a performance. But somewhere along the way, she swallowed hard. I don't know when it happened, but I stopped pretending. Riley, Junwoo turned to face her fully. You can't mean that. We blackmailed you, threatened your grandmother, forced you into this. You gave my grandmother a chance to live, Riley countered. You paid my loans. You trusted me enough to include me in strategy. She looked between them. You taught me I could survive anything, including you. We're criminals, Juncio said, but his voice was unsteady. Dangerous, violent, everything you should run from. And I'm a broke scholarship student who got in over her head and somehow ended up fitting. Riley's laugh was slightly hysterical. This is insane, all of it. But so was pretending I could do this for 6 months and walk away unaffected. You were right from the start. Everyone has a price. Mine was never money. It was belonging. To us, Junwoo said softly, not a question. To you. The car pulled up to the building. None of them moved. If we do this, Junseo finally said, it's not a performance anymore. It's real, forever. Nevada recognizes polyamorous marriage, common law unions, 3 years of cohabitation, shared finances, public declaration. Father won't know the difference. Junwoo's grip on her hand tightened. But you need to be sure, because we are dangerous. We will drag you into our world completely, and we don't share well with anyone else. Good, Riley said, because I've never been great at sharing either. Junseo laughed, the first genuine laugh she'd heard from him. We're all going to hell for this. Probably, Riley agreed, but at least we'll go together. Junwoo pulled her into a kiss that tasted like relief and want and something that might have been love. When he pulled back, Junseo was already there, his kiss demanding and sweet at the same time. Inside, Junwoo rasped, now. They barely made it to the elevator before hands were everywhere. Junseo's fingers in her hair, Junwoo's mouth on her neck, her own hands pulling them closer. The elevator ride was a blur of gasping breaths and shed jackets. By the time they reached the penthouse, Riley was trembling. We need to be clear, Junseo said, backing her against the door. You're ours. Only ours. Forever. I know, Riley breathed. Say it, Junwoo demanded. Say you're ours. I'm yours. Both of yours. Completely. They took her apart slowly, deliberately, making sure she understood exactly what forever meant. He'd lived long enough to see the paperwork, Nevada common law union documents, signed by all 3 of them, photos of the small ceremony in Las Vegas, just the 3 of them and an Elvis impersonator who asked no questions. Proof that his sons had settled, found someone worth keeping. Father died believing his legacy was secure. Uncle stayed exiled in Busan. Minjun sent paintings from Paris, beautiful, abstract things full of color and freedom. The business transitioned smoothly, twins ruling as efficiently as father had predicted. And Riley? Riley graduated summa cum laude, delivered the commencement speech, and started her real job at Chen Global, which actually existed now, a legitimate consulting firm the twins had built as a cover and then made profitable because, of course, they did. Her grandmother survived, went into remission, flew to Seoul to meet the nice young men her granddaughter had somehow ended up with, took one look at them, and pulled Riley aside. Baby, Grandma said, those boys look at you like you hung the moon. They look at me like they're mine, Riley corrected. Same thing, Grandma said. Same thing. 1 year later, Riley stood in the penthouse kitchen making coffee at 5:30 a.m. out of habit more than necessity. Junwoo found her there post-workout and wrapped his arms around her from behind. You don't have to do this anymore, he murmured against her neck. We have staff. I like it, Riley said honestly. It's our ritual. Ours, he repeated, like the word still surprised him. Junseo emerged from the hallway, holding documents. Council meeting in 3 hours. Uncle is petitioning for reinstatement. Denied, Riley and Junwoo said in unison. Junseo smiled. I love it when you two sync up. They gathered at the dining table, the same table where Riley had signed that first contract, terrified and desperate. Now she sat with her coffee, the twins flanking her, working through business strategy like this was normal, like she belonged. Uncle has sympathizers, Junseo noted. 3 council members. Then we flip them, Riley said, analyzing the names. Kim has a son who wants into tech. We fund his startup. Park is drowning in debt from his daughter's medical bills. We pay them. Choi, I pause. Choi just wants respect. We make him vice chair. Both twins looked at her with that same expression from a year ago. Respect and want and something deeper. How do you do that? Junwoo asked. See the angles. Same way I learned to survive you, Riley said, smiling. Pay attention, adapt, find what people need. What do you need? Junseo asked softly. Riley looked between them. These two dangerous, brilliant, complicated men who'd blackmailed her into their life and somehow made her want to stay. This, Riley said. Coffee at dawn, strategy sessions. You have us, Junwoo promised. Forever, Junseo added. Riley's phone buzzed. Her grandmother's face lit up the screen for their weekly video call. Go, Junseo said. We'll handle prep for the meeting. Riley kissed them both, easy now, natural, and headed to the bedroom. She answered the call, smiling. Hey, Grandma. Baby. Grandma's voice was strong now, healthy. How's Seoul? Riley looked back toward the living room where the twins were already deep in conversation, their bodies angled toward each other in that way only they could achieve. Her dangerous, beautiful family. Seoul is perfect, Riley said, and meant it. 2 years after that, Riley stood in front of Seoul National University's graduating MBA class wearing a tailored suit that cost more than her first year's tuition. Behind her, the twins sat in the audience watching with identical proud smiles. 3 years ago, Riley began, I came to Seoul desperate and afraid. I thought I understood survival. I was wrong. Survival isn't just about making it through. It's about finding out what you're made of when everything you thought you knew gets stripped away. She paused, meeting Junwoo's eyes, then Junseo's. I learned that power isn't about control. It's about choice. I learned that family isn't just blood. It's who you'd burn the world down for. And I learned that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is let yourself be vulnerable enough to belong. The audience applauded. Riley finished her speech, collected her honorary degree, and walked off stage into the twins' waiting arms. Proud of you, Junwoo murmured. We always knew you were perfect, Junseo added. Riley looked between them, these two men who'd changed her life with a gun and a knife and a choice that wasn't really a choice at all. Take me home, she said. They did. Home to the penthouse that no longer felt like a cage. Home to coffee rituals and late-night tea and strategy sessions at dawn. Home to a life she'd been blackmailed into and then chosen freely, over and over again. That night, wrapped between them in silk sheets with Seoul glittering outside the windows, Riley thought about that first contract, the one she'd signed with shaking hands, terrified and desperate. She thought she was selling 6 months of her life. Instead, she'd bought forever. I love you, she said into the darkness. Both of you. 2 voices answered in unison. Uri sarang, our love. Riley closed her eyes and let herself fall asleep. Finally, completely safe. She'd screamed that first night, terror and confusion and fear. But now, she screamed for entirely different reasons. And she'd never been happier. The end. If you want to see more love and intense stories, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments.